Hey everyone, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction. Joni Mitchell Hejira. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. This was a request by Joe. Thank you so much for this request and donation. I am very much looking forward to this because I've been meaning to get back to more music by Joni Mitchell. I have reacted to a few songs of her, and they are all in a playlist on the channel, so you can check that out if you want. She's, of course, a legend that her songwriting is really amazing, next level stuff, and of course a beautiful voice. And every time I think I gotta get back to Joni Mitchell, then life gets in the way, other requests and time and energy. And I was listening to Elton John's memoir, and he was actually talking about Joni Mitchell just yesterday, and today I get this request. Like somebody's in my head, man. What's going on? Let's check it out. Whoa. A little darker.
I'm traveling in some vehicle. I'm sitting in some cafe, a defector from the petty wars that shall shut love away. There's comfort in melancholy when there's no need to explain. It's just as natural as the weather in this moody sky today. In our possessive coupling, so much could not be expressed. So now I am returning to myself, these things that you and I suppressed. I see something of myself in everyone, just at this moment of the world. The snow gathers like bolts of lace, waltzing on a ballroom girl.
Wow, I such a her voice is like you think of a fairy tale like enchanting voice. Joni Mitchell, what? It's so hypnotizing. It's magical. Wow. And I love the way the music opened up. Like I said, at the beginning, it felt a little bit heavier, a little bit darker. Um, and that opening riff, but that light percussion that I'm hearing as well. It's almost like she was talking a little bit about rain and weather there, moody sky. It almost felt like a light rain, that percussion. And then I'm hearing sometimes a bass note being picked maybe on an acoustic guitar and letting it ring out like, oh, that's great. And of course, some great lyrics, man. Is like, we're on the road here. You see this artwork, really well done. I love that, she's traveling in some vehicle and, you could be literally traveling or metaphorically, getting away, a defector from the petty wars. Like you can say, I'm getting away from, unnecessary arguments in a relationship, but no, you can say a defector from petty wars. That's the way to do it. That's poetry. And there's comfort in melancholy when there's no need to explain. That's my favorite line up until now because that's I definitely am similar in that melancholic thinking and deeply feeling, and it could be an enemy at times when you really fall into that pit of that reminiscing and deeply feeling and thinking. But it's also the same thing that allows you to create things, right? But I love that extra line that she put in there when there's no need to explain. It's natural as the weather. It's much better to feel your sadness than go into performative happiness. That's much more exhausting, and you're not dealing. And that's what she's talking. I'm returning to myself because the things I couldn't express it, we suppressed it, all of that. Oh my god, Joni Mitchell.
waltzing on a ballroom girl. You know it never has been easy. Whether you do or you do not resign, whether you travel the breadth of extremities or stick to some straighter line. Now here's a man and a woman sitting on a rock. They're either gonna thaw out or freeze. Listen, strains of Benny Goodman coming through the snow and the pine wood trees. I'm porous with travel fever, but you know I'm so glad to be on my own. Still somehow the slightest touch of a stranger can set up trembling in my bones. I know no one's gonna show me everything. We all come and go unknown, each so deep and superficial. Between the forceps and the stone.
I'm sorry to pause it again. I do try to do it less, but with this type of writing, and people have been following me for a while. You know, I try to shine light on the songwriting as well. Uh, you know, because of course her voice is incredible. The emotion, just her tone, the sound of that voice is just so beautiful. And then this music is so hypnotizing, man. It's so immersive, and it reflects the feeling that she is talking about. But there's just so much in it. And you know, I've been reacting to many songs now. There's over 3,000 videos on this channel. And you know, when there's always a different type of feeling or headspace you got to get into when you start to, you know, you go to a Dylan, for example. You know, you're gonna have to, you know, be awake, you know, to really try to soak up as much as you can, if that's even possible on a first listen. But you try, right? Joni Mitchell, it's the same. It's the same. You know, you gotta. All right, you gotta put your, I don't know, thinking cap, feeling cap. You gotta stack all those caps up onto each other. You know, there's not even in the frame so many caps I have on. But there is so much. Oh, you need to do a separate video just without music and just talk about each line. It's incredible. Like there's always going to be struggles, whether you travel to the with the breadth of extremities or stick to the straighter line. You know, oh, and there's always going to be struggle. It doesn't matter where you come from, how you travel in the world, what resources you have. There will always be struggle. And now she's looking at, you know, this man and woman sitting on a rock. You know, this metaphor for a relationship. They're either gonna thaw or freeze. They're gonna work it out, or they're gonna, you know, go inwards and it's gonna freeze. They're not gonna talk about anything anymore. So that's such a great way of putting it. And even when she wants to get it, she talked about strains of Benny Goodman. I think that's a musician probably, but she's talking about traveling away from that uh, person or from that relationship. But and she's glad to be on her own. But then the slightest touch of a stranger can still set up trembling in your bones. You still are open or vulnerable or sensitive to human connection, no matter what. But then I know no one's going to show me everything. That's just impossible. So profound, man. We all come and go unknown. Like that is, put that on my headstone. That's amazing. That's amazing. Each so deep and superficial between four ships and the stone. I know I'm repeating lines. Some people don't like that, but you know, it's just so beautiful. I like to read it. And we exist in a paradox, you know, because between four ships and the stone, between birth and death, we're all deep, we're all superficial, so we exist in a paradox between the forceps and the stone. Come on, man. Yo.
Each so deep and superficial, between the forceps and the
Forceps.
stone.
Wow.
Well, I looked at the granite markers, those tributes to finality, to eternity. And then I looked at myself here, chicken scratching for my immortality. In the church they light the candles, and the wax rolls down like tears. There is the hope and the hopelessness I've witnessed 30 years. We're only particles of change, I know, orbiting around the sun.
Wow.
But how can I have that point of view when I'm always bound and tied to someone? White flags of winter chimneys, praying truce against the moon. In the mirrors of a modern bank, from the window of a hotel room. I'm traveling in some vehicle, I'm sitting in some cafe, a defector from the petty wars, until love sucks me back that way.
Man, that recurring picking pattern is so good. And I like that the music, continued a while after the lyrics to allow you to feel, everything that she was singing about, and just the emotion for a little while. Because especially on the first listen, and I want to shine a light on the songwriting, the music, the vocals, you also have to try to walk that line with also feeling the music, which is not always easy, that balance, right? Because my brain is so wired to grab onto words. It always has been. But then having that little bit of music there, bringing me back to a peaceful, more peaceful state. Because I really get excited when some of these great lines are being sung. It's like, whoa, that's amazing. I love great writing. I get inspired by it. Your creative juices get running. You just right. You get hype because it's just so like, oh, I love it so much. But then that music allowed me to come back a little bit and feel the music too, which is also important, of course. I am aware of that. Oh man, that last it's just such a beautiful song. Wonderful writing, exquisite writing, all of the superlatives you can think of, right? Well, I looked at the granite markers. I talked about a tombstone, right? Because she was already saying forceps and a stone. The tribute to the finality to eternity. I looked at myself here, chicken scratching for my immortality. Is- I just talked about this in another reaction. Where human beings, we try to create something that lasts in a world where nothing ever lasts, but we do try. Like I got my books here that I wrote, of course. I'm nowhere near. I just sold a few thousand books here in my own community. But your books are in libraries. So I don't know if that's even my intention, but there's something inside of you that think, oh, you'll leave something behind, whatever that means. It means nothing. Because she talked about we all come and go unknown. Anyway, also, I just love writing. But it's such a great way of putting. I looked at myself here, chicken scratching for my immortality, whether she's writing songs or journaling, whatever she's doing. She's trying to create something that lasts, but she's looking at this tombstones at the same time. Such a contrast. And you look, what am I doing? You could ask yourself that is what is the point of this? Which is another dangerous road to go down, maybe. But it's a great thing to be aware of as well, how silly it can be sometimes what we're doing. Uh, but it's so beautiful. Man, ah, she's talking about the hopelessness, but also being aware that we're only, particles of change orbiting around the sun. We're all made up out of the same atoms. This Mike, me, you, uh, and it's fleeting, right? So we're just little cogs in a wheel, or however you want to put it. Uh, Specks of dust that will fade away. Yeah, man. And how can I have that point of view when I'm always bound and tied to someone? It's like orbiting around somebody else, and you're drawn to them. So you need to venture out and get your own perspectives. Man, white flags of winter chimneys waving truce against the moonlight. Come on, man. How? Oh, I would be so interested in like hearing her talk about the writing process of these particular lines. Like I would ask, where did that come from? Like you see a chimney and there's white smoke against the moon, like such a great, oh, this is a sign of peace. The white smoke, the contrast against the moon. But then she contrasted the mirrors of a modern bank from the windows of a hotel room. That disconnect. Oh, incredible. Incredible. I love that. Thank you so much for the introduction. Definitely one I need to revisit more often. And yeah, it's there's a lot of insights to be gained by listening to songs like these. Incredible. Thank you for spending some time with me. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Hey, this video isn't over. I hadn't had enough of this guy's face. Or if you've already sat through this message, you can click away. That's why I put it at the end, not at the beginning or in the middle of a video to disrupt it. But here I am, hat in hand. Well, if I had a hat, I would have it in my hand. Uh, Subscriber count. That's a vanity metric. I know. I'm not above vanity, but I do want to ask you if you're feeling generous and if you made it this far in the video and if you already watched a few of my videos and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. We're nearing that 100K mark, and you get that shiny silver play button. And dads aren't cool to their kids. You know that. But maybe, just maybe, I would get 5 minutes of coolness if I could show that silver play button to my daughter. She loves YouTube, of course, like all kids. And if her daddy would have that, it would be daddy cool until she sees this video. Then it's over. But until that day, I would truly, truly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.